I don't know about you, but I feel like I walked into an episode of that old 1960s television show entitled The Twilight Zone. And I'm sort of expecting Rod Serling to appear at any moment and explain to me and make sense of this parallel reality in which we are all now dealing with. It's hard to believe that just a mere 10 days ago, life was relatively normal. We were going about our business, we were working, we were shopping, we were visiting, we were traveling, we were playing, we were going to the grocery store, we were going to the movies, we were visiting friends, and on and on. Now, this week, it has become surreal. It is a surreal experience to have walked into the grocery store this week to empty shelves. It was a surreal experience to be driving on the QEW at rush hour at the speed limit. It was a surreal experience having to be physically distanced from people you know, for being conscious about touching or hugging. It was surreal having to be overly cautious about living. There seems to be no other conversation going on, whether it be family or friends or colleagues or neighbors. We're all asking the same question. Why and what is next? What is happening? Everything is different. There is no precedent. This may be, who knows, the defining moment for our time, the defining moment for our history. No one knows or can predict what our lives or our communities will be like on the other side. It is a vast unknown. And as human beings, we don't do well with unknown. We tend to make things up. We fill in the vacuum. We fill in the blanks. We exaggerate. We tend to project the worst. And all the while, the uncertainties, the fear, and the anxiety grows and locks us up. Everything we do, every decision we make, every person we encounter is jostled about in our heads. It's magnified and processed. And going about our daily business is no longer something that happens on autopilot. It's exhausting, frankly. Our world, our lives, our realities have been turned upside down. Our world being turned upside down is not unlike the blind beggar in the story we just heard from John. This poor, unfortunate soul, born blind from birth, no fault of his own, living in the streets, scraping a life for himself, condemned, vilified, shunned, and for whatever reason, Jesus chose him. Jesus spit on the ground, placed the mud in his eyes, and healed him. He sent him to the pool of Siloam to wash himself, and behold, his world turned upside down. He was blind, but now he could see. And yet the authorities, his friends, his family, the community, his neighbors, they didn't believe him. They rejected him. They turned on him. They continued to condemn him. They cast him out. No fault of his own. But this time, there was a difference for this man. He had also spiritually been awakened. He saw the one who had healed him. He was now putting his life and his trust in the God who gave him new eyes to see and a new hope to live. A new hope to live in the upside-down world he had now entered. So what of us now? What are we to make of this upside-down world in which we are living? It is my hope and prayer that God is giving us also new eyes to see and a new way to live in this new reality. Can we see God's creation and our environment in really new ways and understand what is happening in our planet, on our planet? May we be able to reach out to our neighbors and our friends more intentionally, to recreate deeper, more abiding communities, to make our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues, our priorities, to stay connected. Can we get out of our silos and live and love? Can we really hold our elected officials more accountable and responsible to the most vulnerable and needy in our midst? Can we remind them of how, through all of this, political divisions and ideologies seem to have been put aside so that everyone sought collectively to achieve the common good? Might we find ways to ensure that, as it says in our baptismal covenant, we continue to strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? And might we remember that through all of this, interestingly, the pursuit of wealth, power, and prestige was the least of our concerns. Can we create a new humanity, loving God, loving neighbor, and ourselves? So let us see this upside-down world with new eyes. Keep our trust and faith in the God of hope, compassion, and love. Really love our neighbor. Build communities of hope and promise. Love our planet like it is the only one we have. And love our God and keep the faith in the one who makes all things new. And as Julian of Norwich said, and keep this in mind, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Thanks be to God.